Now who gotta move rockin' on? Now who wanna move crossin' on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em, bingo bottle, never stop it. To the beast and know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite.
Welcome to Bengals and Brews. I'm Dale Oven, joined by the BSG, Pork Chop. Pork Chop's here. And Santori. I didn't even know Pork Chop was going to be here.
It's a surprise. Yeah, here I am. I'm off today.
All right.
I got some bread.
I know. Oh, we're eating toast?
Where's bread?
Ooh.
Well, if you haven't heard the news.
Hold on.
Blackout Trey, yeah.
I just want to get some use out of this T-shirt.
Go ahead, Dale. I guess I should have put mine on as well.
I know.
You should have texted me, and I would have ran up and got it if I'd have known you were coming on and wearing that.
Yeah.
Talk me off the ledge. Blackburn and Brown family have done it again. Fuck the Bengals. Who dey? I mean, it's frustrating. We love Trey. He's an excellent player. Santori called me. We were talking. Well, he was mainly talking. I was trying to set the show up. But
he does a lot of talking. He's a talker.
He was saying kind of what I was, I'm a little back and forth, right? Because I did tweet out yesterday when it didn't seem like we're anywhere close with any of these guys. If you know you're not going to get a deal with Trey Hendrickson, you got to trade him, right? You have, and you need to do it now because free agency starts Monday, and there's no guarantee it gets done. That's the problem. It scares the hell out of me. But you need to do it now so you can get draft capital. That's what you're going to get back most likely. Some draft capital, maybe a player and some draft capital. We'll talk about some options and teams that need edge. But mainly it's because free agency starts. You need to go out now. You got to be super aggressive. It's not a great free agency class. We've gone through edges. We've gone through detail. There's some guys. You're going to have to be going after some of those guys. Some of those names that we said, I don't see him going after this guy. Khalil Mack being an example on the edge. You might have to go after Khalil Mack now. Milton Williams. They ain't going to pony up for Milton. You might have to. You might have to be ponying up for some of these guys in free agency, but who knows what they're going to get because they're on the open market come Monday.
Yeah, well, not only that, but here I am wanting Walter Nolan, and now they're fucking me over. Now, if Trey's not here, it's not Walter Nolan. You got to pick an edge. But the other thing I was going to say to your point, Dale, is this shit happened just a few years ago. If we remember a few years ago, we had a player that wanted to seek a trade. So he did. And then he found out that his value wasn't exactly what he thought. And he came back. Of course, now he's seeking another trade, and that's Jermaine Pratt. So the rumor is that the Bengals offered Trey Hendrickson $30 million fucking dollars, and he turned it down. So I really can't blame the Bengals. That is really good money for a guy that's going to be 30 years old.
Well, Pratt was on the market. You're talking about when Pratt was on the open market, and we didn't think we were going to sign him. But we lost Von Bell. We lost Von Bell, and I think we pivoted to sign him.
My point is they let him test the market. So I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Like, I'm not ready to figure out what's going on right now because he could go test the market and find out that every other team said $29 million and then go, oh, well, wait a minute, guys. Okay, I want to take the hometown discount or whatever.
Yeah, let's just say it's between 30 and 32, but he's wanting 35, and no one's going to give him 35 mil.
Right.
That's just the average annual value, like Santori said.
He wants that Max Cosby money.
You don't know about the guaranteed money. You don't know about the structure, all that stuff. Greg, I'll let you go, and then we'll get into Santori with all the cap and that because that could
get out the abacus, Santori.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I watched one show where they were saying, say if you did let Trey go, instead of paying Trey $31 million, you could go out and get Milton Williams for $25 million. I know those are two different positions, and you still could go out and get another edge, and it's a deep edge class, and that kind of got me thinking a tad bit. I want to keep Trey here, but it could easily be like a Matthew Stafford deal, as Chop was saying. He just wants to see what his market looks like out there. So we'll see what happens. But like I say, if you do get rid of Trey, I'd almost rather go out and get Milton Williams for like $25 million versus paying Trey $31 million. Just in a way.
I didn't want to pay him $30 million. I thought that was too much, to be honest. I thought the Bengals were very generous. I think that
But you got to think market.
I understand
value,
that, and I think that if the man got paid $50 million a year, he deserves it. He goes out there and really played on a defense. He was the only player. But the fact of the matter is, I'm a Bengals fan, and I want the team to succeed this year and next year and the year after that. So, I mean, Jesus, that's a lot of money for – Trey Hendrickson's a badass, but that is a big-ass chunk of change for someone who is at the end of their career.
Oh,
First off,
Natty Spurner said, "Hey guys, love the show. Just want to say, even though I can't stand Drew Garrison at all, what he's saying on Twitter makes absolute sense. He's crashing out just as I like Drew, but
yeah,
I love Drew. First off,
Drew's awesome,
but all good. Everybody has a different. But thank you for liking our show.
Yes, and I just in general just like everybody, even you, Santori.
I don't like you, Chop, but
I know, but we have a mutual fuck off.
I don't like myself.
All right,
Join the crowd, Greg.
We're gonna give Santori the floor here.
Right. I want to give him time to finish his hot sauce and bread.
I'm almost done. First and foremost, love what you've done with the bed there, Chop.
Thank you.
Setup. Beautiful setup.
I make my bed every day. I'm probably the only person I know that actually does that.
Yeah, I don't know the last time I actually made my bed. So I would like it open for the next time I come back in.
You come over here if you want. Look, I got a queen, buddy. You can fit.
All right, Chop. We're getting distracted by the bed.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Numbers.
See what you did, Santori.
Regarding the $30 million number, I do think that that's probably an appropriate market for him. I don't think it's coming down to average annual value as much as it probably is either guarantees or length of the contract. Because $30 million can be a hollow number. I mean, what if it's $30 million, 3 years, and there's only 15 guaranteed, and he can get cut after 8 games and not see another dime?
And he talked about long-term security when he talked recently.
Right.
So.
It's the Bengals have never had an issue with dollar amount.
Good point.
They've had an issue with guarantees.
Yes.
I don't know the details of this, but if I'm a betting man, it's coming down to either length or guarantees or, something along those numbers. It's, devil's in the details. They always say devil's in the details. That's my guess. I do think that they're probably close. I do think that it's a situation where they're letting Trey test to see trade market. And when they say he's getting permission to seek a trade in this scenario, you got to remember, one, the Bengals would have to agree to it, right?
Yes.
And two, the first part of Trey seeking a trade is asking the teams, what would you give me as a value?
That's what she said. Sorry.
Right. So if the numbers don't make sense for Trey, you can cross that team off the list. If the numbers make sense for him with a contract there, then it's up to Katie Blackburn to negotiate a trade.
Dude,
very well, or Duke if he does the trades, whomever does it.
Yeah.
So now you're running into that issue. I don't think it's a guarantee that he's getting traded. I mean, I know it's a little bit different of a situation, but last year they did ask for a trade, and that never happened either. It is what it is. We saw it with another team like 2 weeks ago where a guy said that he wanted to go request a trade, and then he looked, didn't find anything, came back and re-signed with the team. There's so many different avenues this can go.
Yeah.
And
but them granting him permission to seek a trade is a step further than last year.
Correct.
For sure.
But the other thing to consider is we knew getting all 3 would be difficult. Even for the most optimistic people, we knew it would be difficult. Right?
They had the money to do it, but we're talking about the Bengals.
Right. So let's just go back to we knew it was difficult for a second. Who is the odd man out in the scenario almost every time and getting more money?
Well, you could tell when you listened to Duke that Trey was the one that didn't sound great when we talked about that, right, Greg?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, none of what's happened today is necessarily out of what was anticipated. Getting permission to seek a trade is maybe a step further than I thought it would get in terms of that realm. But if anyone wasn't going to get the money and anybody wasn't going to get traded, I think we all would have taken a guess that it would have been Trey. 30 years old. We know he's got back problems. The defense is being gutted. They're trying to pay T and Jamar and Joe. he was down the line of the priority list. We know that. And that's kind of where it stands, and we'll see where it ends from there.
Yeah, I had Brock's comment up there for a while, so Brock was saying, no, all good, because I thought about that one too before the show started that you popped up for Robert. But Brock says, is it possible we could trade him for Quentin Nelson? Joe Goodberry tossed out a scenario of Quentin Nelson and a third-round pick for Trey Hendrickson.
Third round this year or next year?
I would hope this year. I would hope this year.
I would hope it.
So that doesn't sound bad to me, right? Because we need to improve guards, and I'm all for protecting Burrow. So if you can get a starting left guard, one of the best left guards in the NFL, I mean, Joe Tooney went for a fourth, but that's neither here nor there in this conversation. Yeah. If you can get Quentin Nelson and a third, we'll say third, because that's what Joe put out there. Okay. I mean, and he's under contract, and I don't think he's holding out or anything. He's under contract through 2026, so you got Quentin Nelson for 2 years as is. I think that's a decent trade scenario. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's moderately realistic too. Maybe not necessarily all the compensation details, but getting Quentin Nelson or getting Trey to the Colts because Anarumo's there. And that's not just a team that we're kind of pulling out of thin air. It's because Lou is in Indianapolis. If Lou has an opportunity to get his guy, he's going to be looking at Irsay going, come on, let's make this happen.
Hey, 17 and a half sacks 2 straight years playing in his defense.
Can't we package Trey and Jermaine and get something even better? I mean, who knows? I mean, if Lou's up there, hey, here's 2 guys on your defense to help teach your defense to everybody else. That's a good thing, right?
My brother-in-law, who's a Colts fan, I texted him that, and he says, why would we trade our best player in a pick for someone who only has 1 year left?
Because you're going to extend him. Wherever he gets traded, he's getting extended. Plus, Lou was his defense coordinator. He is the NFL sack leader. Let's not disrespect Trey Hendrickson. The reason we're not saying, oh, I understand why we're trading him. The reason we're on the fence is because he's so damn fucking good at football.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Period.
And Greg, just going back to that really quick, and this is for anybody listening, a trade would only happen if there was an agreement for an extension.
Right.
That's the only way a trade would happen.
Yeah.
Right.
For him to accept it, for the team to do it, for all the above.
Which is weird if you're the negotiating team, because now I'm going to drive down my compensation in return because I have to pay him $100 million over 3 years, most likely. So I have to give up a pick and $100 million. I don't know. So we're going to start getting into that battle because we know the Bengals in trade talks, the Bengals overvalue their guys. In negotiations for contracts, they undervalue them.
Yeah, exactly. And T. Brookie asks, what do we do for pass rush? Play the third round? T. Brookie, I get it. I'm not like, hey, we should trade Trey. We're just talking scenarios because they granted his request. It doesn't sound like they're going to pay him. I want Trey here. I wanted him here. So what do we do for pass rush? I think it starts, number one, you hope Miles Murphy steps up. Number two, I would be getting Osai signed.
Dale, I have a solution. Load up with the Buckeyes with Bosa and Chase Young.
Absolutely not. I think one thing that could come into play that I don't know how much of a bright spot it is, but it is something to keep in mind.
I think you would, because it's about money right now for him.
Miles Murphy's significantly better from the right side, and we're constantly been seeing him from the left side, which was kind of the big knock on him during the pass rush or during the draft process, was that he doesn't have a ton of great moves and he's not good from the left side. If Trey's gone, he's probably the guy that's going to go from the right side until they find somebody else or do something different.
Yeah, as the starter, like he's probably going to fit. And it's his third year in the NFL. You expect a first-round pick to become a starter at that point. So
it wouldn't surprise me, and there's no data to support it. There's a little bit of film to support it. If he got, 800, 900 snaps from the right side, it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up with 7 or 8 sacks from that side, which I know that's still cutting the production in half from Trey. But if you get somebody else next to him, you're probably going to be okay. I mean, you got to remember the defense was atrocious with Trey popping off. You're
Yeah, but we
probably
said the
not-
same about Reader. It didn't get better. It got worse when we lost him.
the run defense for sure got worse.
I think, when Antone asked about Trey going to a bad team, I think at this point, I think that Trey knows that he's not going to get traded to the probably most likely he's not going to the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Buffalo, or anybody else that's a Super Bowl contender as of right now. So I think that this is about Trey securing the rest of his life and his kids' lives. I think he's looking for the bag. So if it's Carolina that comes a knocking and says we'll give you what they gave Max Cosby, I think that
Cosby,
Trey
damn
Hendrickson
it.
will be in
Stop
fucking
calling
Carolina.
him Bill Cosby.
Whatever. Crosby.
Whatever.
I just woke up, Dale. I'm gonna get sleep out of my eyes. But I'm just saying, I think he's gonna go wherever who's gonna pay him. I think it's about the money right now. Huh?
He's chasing the bag for sure.
Yes. 100. So will he go to a bad team? I believe he wasn't doing great in New Orleans, but Bengals weren't great when he came.
And we missed the playoffs the last 2 years. To be fair, the Colts who was in the mix for the playoffs along with us? The Colts.
Yes. Broncos. Yeah. I am waiting to see because I do think that the Bengals are going to see what he's offered.
Hey, Glenn, if you're watching out there, we'll talk trade. We're fan to fan.
I don't know. I don't want Trey going to the Bills, a team that we're going to have to see if we do make the playoffs.
Carolina's good, right, Dale?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Carolina
bye, Trey. Carolina.
But yeah, but if you were to trade him to the Bills, that's one, because we say, and we believe, especially knowing you got to give this guy a contract. It's not that he's not worth a first-round pick. It's knowing that a team has to give the person a huge, huge contract. Plus, he is over 30 years old. So we're thinking second round for draft capital is where you start, second, maybe a fourth, something like that. But if I'm trading him to the Bills, they're getting that you're in our AFC and we might see you in the playoffs tax. And I'm asking for at least a first from the Bills because they're at the end of the first round.
Well, we play him every goddamn year except last year.
What would be your thoughts on that, Greg? If you're trading with the Bills, do you even consider trading with the Bills? And what would you have to get to consider to trade him there?
What was the trade you were going to say, Greg?
The trade I was going to say
to Glenn.
I would have to ask. Like I say, you got to look at are the Bills in the same boat as the Chiefs? Because I am not helping out the Chiefs. I can guarantee that. But we love the Bills, but still we're contending with them also. So it would be a little bit steeper. Like if it was an NFC team, then I could care less who we trade him to. But in the AFC, you got to be careful with this. So it's like, say if averagely, so like an NFL, it was like it would take a second or a third. I'd be telling the Bills, I'd be wanting a first and a third because even though they're not in our division or anything, that's one of your competitors in the AFC for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be one of the teams I'd want a first from.
Let me ask you this.
Just because we'll talk a bunch of teams, we'll talk a bunch of scenarios. Someone, our buddy Robert mentioned, the Browns with Myles Garrett. You just do a high swap. Well, in a million years, they're probably never trading with each other, first off. But sure, right?
Sure.
Two guys that want traded, trade them for each other. We'll take Myles Garrett.
What about this scenario? What about I'm just picking a team and they just happen to be at the top. Tennessee says, hey, we'll swap picks with you in the first round and send us Trey.
His value's not that high.
I'm just saying, let a boy dream, Dale. What if that?
A first from 17 to first on trade value chart is probably like 3 first rounders at least.
No, it's Trey. It's the sack leader, Dale. Last year he had 17 sacks.
But yes, would I like Abdul Carter on the Bengals? Yes, Chop, I would.
Well, Dale, let me ask you this. Obviously, it's too late. Obviously, say if they didn't trade Joe Tooney, say if the Chiefs had Joe Tooney straight up, Joe Tooney for Trey Hendrickson, would you have done that?
No, because they got a 4th round for Joe Tooney.
Right.
I think Trey is worth much more than a 4th rounder, even knowing he has a contract owed to him. He's the NFL sack leader.
Yes, Greg. He's going to get us that number 1 overall pick where we get Abdul Carter.
Now you're overvaluing him.
Yeah.
See,
all right, I think about it. All right, let me start over.
Atlanta was another one, right? So Atlanta was another one that was mentioned. Could be interested.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, Jesse Bates. Well, it's not going to be Jesse Bates, but Kyle Pitts. Maybe that's a change of scenery candidate. Maybe you don't get something done with Gesicki. So maybe you're looking at Atlanta and you're saying a 2nd rounder and Kyle Pitts.
Well, Kyle Pitts, we get the 5th-year option. I would want a deal in play. I would want a deal in place for Kyle Pitts if I'm making a trade. I'd be asking like, what's reasonable trade? Kyle Pitts in a third and a 4th. I mean, I
said second Kyle Pitts because I mean it's the sack leader, and that's the middle of the 2nd round.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want more than Kyle Pitts. Is what I'm saying. Yeah,
more. I mean, more than Kyle Pitts, like a pick, right?
Exactly. I want a pick to add a high draft pick, not just Kyle Pitts in general.
Yeah, like the same thing Goodberry said about the guard from Indy.
Nelson.
Nelson. Yeah. That was we already talked about that one.
That's what I'm saying. Like same deal. Maybe we can just send Trey up there for no pick, Quentin Nelson and Freeze.
Well, Freeze is free agent.
Whichever way you say his name.
He's a free agent.
Oh well, they can't trade his ass, can they?
Antone, you're going to hear sack leader several times. He is the sack leader. That's what we're pitching to teams. We're trying to trade this man since we're not going to sign him. I would love to sign him, but it's probably not happening.
Right, sack leader. Oh, man. Everybody take a drink every time we say sack leader.
But I tell you what, though.
Hot sauce. Yes, look.
T better get signed by this weekend or something. Something better happen soon. Eh? But you know what should happen soon? Taking a trip to Midwest Best Barbecue while wearing your Chop Shop T-shirt. Proud sponsors of Bengals and Brews.
Blackout Trey.
I think you had it right the first time when you accidentally said Chop Top because that's what it gives me. And
that's right. You know what this T-shirt should say?
Bye-bye,
sack
Trey.
Leader.
Oh, sack leader. Yeah.
Sack leader.
I thought you were going to put it over your face and do like Trey Hendrickson, like pitch why you should get $35 million, Trey.
Well, guys, I really love Cincinnati mostly because I love the damn chili and I hate to go and I love UDF homemade brand ice cream, but I am seeking $55 million a year. I am the NFL sack leader. This last season, and the season before that, I was tied for the most sacks. I earned my $120 million a year. I know I got a good offer, but fuck that. Fuck that. I'm not interested in a ring. I'm interested in buying a ring, and I can buy a lot of goddamn rings with $325 million a year. So, even though I love y'all, I'm peacing out, Cincinnati.
Every time. Beautiful. That was well done, sir. Well done.
What happened? I had to go away for a minute.
We had Trey on here, and he explained what his value is, what he's worth. It was crazy. Yeah. Give me I don't even think you get a couple picks if you traded him for Simmons. I mean, what do you guys think? If you traded
Jeffrey Simmons, isn't he the one that punched Ted Karras in the throat?
Yeah. That's fun practices. That's great practices.
If it was somebody else, maybe, but I think Jeffrey Simmons is off the I know it's business and some guys don't like each other and end up on the same team, but I mean, that's where we all got that famous "fuck you, Tennessee" from Ted Karras as he's walking out.
Yeah.
He said this guy punched him in the throat on the line and he fucked the whole city. He said, "Fuck you, Tennessee."
Yeah. And I agree. You got to smile off of that. And speaking of other good news, I got my mower to fire up today. I was telling Greg this before the show started. Like, let's go.
Let's go.
Trey might have requested a trade, and that sucks. He's arguably my favorite Bengal, like Burrow, Chase, and Trey. I mean, come on. Like, he's in the conversation.
Yeah. I mean,
Travis says Trey for
sample.
Jonathan Allen and a third. I think Allen is probably going to get released from the sounds of it. So yeah. I don't know if you'd want him to be part of that package, and I also don't know what he's wanting in a contract. Like, I think he's wanting his contract redone. But and is Jonathan Allen kind of washed now?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I don't know. I mean, he might not be. I'm just saying. Guys have
But
down
no.
years or injury years.
I was so happy we got John Ross over him. I thought John Ross was going to be the. I was screaming my ass off. We took John Ross over Jonathan Allen. Now I have regrets.
And that dude was badass. He could run really fast down the
I
field.
wanted Marshawn Lattimore. Santori was all about Patrick Mahomes, so we got to give Santori his credit on Patrick Mahomes. But
Sorry.
and Jeremy says I'm looking at Washington and Chicago. So Washington, Chop, your second favorite team.
Boom.
With them getting rid of Jonathan Allen, I don't think they'd get rid of this guy, but I still got the crush from last year. Johnny Newton.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Yeah, give me Johnny Newton and a third or fourth round pick for Trey.
Dale,
Like,
before
I'm
you
just
say that, let
saying.
me put on my rubber underwear because I'm about to make a mess. Don't talk about Johnny Newton.
And then you can still root for Trey because he's playing with your boy Jake.
Oh, I know, but like,
Yeah.
goddamn, man, I would take that deal in a minute. Johnny Newton is a badass.
And listen, we're just tossing shit out with
Sure,
no
just
rhyme
for
or reason,
spitballing.
no real thought into it. Just doing a show and tossing shit out. That's how we roll.
Brain
Chicago. What are we trying to do with Chicago?
So let's get Sweat.
What do they even have left? Because they're trading for guys left and right.
Andrew Billings.
Well, I'm thinking, I mean, if they still have their second rounder, you get their second rounder and a future. You could probably get a future third from them because they just be trading all them damn picks. That GM does not care about draft picks. He traded for 2 veteran guards in the past week,
Yeah.
which one of them was Joe Tooney. The other was Jonah
I mean,
Jackson.
honestly, they got a good deal on that one with a 4th round pick next year.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I thought
ridiculous.
that was a great deal too.
I would have loved to give them a 4th round pick next year for Joe Tooney.
All right, let's go through the teams. So we already talked Tennessee. I got my NFL draft needs that you can get in the draft guide for charity. $5 donation for charity, by the way. Just send me a DM. I'll directly email it to you. It's that simple. $5. You Venmo it to Project Game Day. You DM me. Show me a screenshot of that. And give me your email. Boom. You got it. It's
Boom.
over
It's
300 player prospects, all
Yep.
kinds of shit. Team needs for every team, all kinds of stuff. But
And it's the gift that keeps on giving because you update it normally about once every week or 2 weeks. You get an update.
And it's slowing down a little bit on how often I'll do updates because honestly, I've been so much ahead. The changes are very minimal. Even after the combine, it's not big changes because I feel good about where I have players because I've been on these players for a year. But so the Browns we talked about, right? Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Give us Myles Garrett. Sure. Let's go. Trade for Trey.
I'm okay with Trey going to the Browns if that's the deal.
Yeah.
I don't think the Giants would be interested, so we'll skip over them. Patriots could certainly use.
I'll tell you what, I know a guy for the Giants that I wouldn't mind trading either. Sexy Dexy.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. The Giants just re-signed DeVito as their quarterback. They're on a roll right now.
That's true. The Patriots could use an edge. They would have an early second-round pick, so I wouldn't even ask for a third, fourth, whatever. If they want to do an early second for Trey, I think I would do that because we're talking about guys like Walter Nolan, James Pierce, falling down boards because of character issues. Me personally, I love those players. I think they're top 15 talents. If they're there early second, I would take them, man. I got that for Trey. What are your thoughts on that, Santori, for the Patriots? Or is there any player that jumps out?
There's no player that jumps out. That would just be a straight up 2. And if I couldn't get a 2, I'd want like a 3 and a 3 next year kind of thing.
Or they're 2 the following season because they think they're going to be better, you know?
Sure. Like whatever. I'm not one of the people that's super pressed to have a draft pick this year. You know, if they're wanting to offer me, you know, something even better next year or what they think could be better next year, then I'm down with that too. But I need some kind of compensation.
Yeah. Jaguars. I don't know how much the Jaguars need an edge. It's very low on my list of needs for them. I know they got Josh Allen. They probably got another guy or two.
Allen Hines, mind you.
He's what?
Oh, sorry. Allen Hines. You're right.
Allen
He's got that. He's a hyphenated name guy. The Raiders, they just paid Crosby. I can't see them doubling down.
A lot. I'll tell you what, maybe Chase was waiting for that because now Max Crosby.
There you
Crosby.
go.
He is he's the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. So, I mean, but they did offer Jamar more than that. They offered him 37, right?
I don't know. We don't.
Mm.
I mean, we don't know exactly what was offered, but
Right.
the Jets, I don't have edge as a huge need for them. It's farther down the list, so we'll skip them too. The Panthers, which is where we'd like to trade them to Carolina, Chop.
That's right.
I got edge as one of their top needs because they traded Brian
Boom.
Burns last year. So hey,
And Brian Callahan knows what he's got in Trey Hendrickson.
well, it's Panthers. You don't.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We're talking. Okay, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Panthers. There you go. Well, he could go down there and play with Andy Dalton.
So what would you guys want from the Panthers, Greg? How about you this time?
Panthers. Andy Dalton, let's get the grilled cheese back as our backup.
God damn it, Greg. This is an incorrect answer.
I'm kidding. No,
I don't even know what the Panthers have, to be honest.
No, I don't know what that is.
Put up their depth chart and roster.
They had that one right tackle that they paid highly, but again, we have a right tackle, so that means nothing to us right now. I would just want some draft picks.
Yeah, probably be draft picks with them, right? And probably your second rounder, and it's an early second, and maybe you get something else. It's the Panthers, so hey, you get them out of the AFC too.
Right.
Fuck that, man. We're swapping picks first, and then we'll send Trey. Where do the Panthers pick? What's their pick?
Eighth overall.
There you go. Swap picks. Although I don't think at 8 that I'm not sure that I get the value.
I don't know what we get at 8. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that our pick would have to be in the top 5 because I'm going to be honest. I got.
And then we take Shamar Stewart. We trade up to 8 to take Shamar Stewart, who I didn't want at 17 because of sack production. I'm just sitting there, Arthur Mean.
When I'm thinking about swapping picks, I'm thinking about swapping it for, like you said, Abdul Carter or Mason Graham.
Yeah, it's that.
So
I don't think
that's
any
the kind of
things
pick
are happening.
Yeah.
His value is just not going to be that high, right? With the Panthers, you're talking a second round pick.
Yeah.
Would you take Damian Lewis if they'd be willing?
I don't know how he's done, to be honest, Santori. I know they had a good line. I feel like for at least early in the season when we were playing them, they had a good line. Then some injuries hit, but.
So he had 1,000 snaps this year and was basically 12th in everything out of 77.
Yeah.
Now that's just this year, but
was he an LSU guy? Did he play with Burrow?
Yeah.
He's 26. Okay, there you go. So maybe you take him and a third rounder. I'm just tossing out ideas, right? We're tossing out ideas.
Sure. I mean, if you go team by team, I got PFF up. I can look at their rosters and everything right now, and I'll give you an idea of who I would want to pluck.
Back to the Saints, baby, because they're next up at pick 9, and they have a huge need at edge. They used to have Trey Hendrickson.
And they can have him too. Back.
I
mean,
NFC.
I'm not like saying that like let's get rid of Trey.
Hold on. Before we go to the Saints, Greg had something, so we'll let Greg.
Sorry about that, Greg.
I tell you what, I'm trying to this is just to point something out also. Jay Morrison pointed this out. You got to remember also, remember we paid Geno Atkins at 30, but we're like, we have to keep Geno. I'm the biggest Geno Atkins fan there ever is. I thought that was a smart – look how that turned out. I'm not comparing Trey to Geno.
I know, but look at Whitworth and how that turned out.
Yeah, Whitworth is what I always go back to also, and that cost us dearly. So you got to go back and forth with that. And also, I would say the Packers, this was a pack. Would you trade?
Geno was still very good, like 14 sacks. It's like – and then they got 14 sacks from him. He's a defensive tackle. He's not putting up 17 at edge a season. Right. He was still dominant after they gave him that contract.
Right. And also after, and what I was going to say is this was suggested trade. Since the Packers wanted to get rid of Alexander, would you trade Alexander for Hendrickson? I honestly wouldn't.
No. You'd have to get him. And he seems like one of those players that is not a good locker room guy.
Yeah.
Whatever reason.
I want an extra corner.
They bench his ass a lot.
Yeah. And I want an extra corner, but not at that price. No.
Well,
it'd have to be him plus a lot. But we'll go. Do you got anything for the Saints cooking up, Santori?
Not really.
Picks.
Yeah, probably picks. There's a couple guys I'm looking at here just for sake of argument, but
take your shirt off, Greg. Crip needs it.
Yeah,
he needs to see
Crip
you naked.
wants to see them nips.
He wants to see them nips.
Hold on.
till something good happens.
Greg is not in the mood to show his nipples. So Saints, we're probably looking at picks, and once again, I'm sticking to my second rounder. Am I crazy? Second rounder plus for Trey Hendrickson, the sack leader. And
especially for a team trying to win a Super Bowl again. There was a player away. I'd be asking for your mortgage.
All right, Bears. I feel like we kind of said that's probably picks again. I don't know if the
Well,
Bears
would you take Cesar Ruiz from the Saints?
Oh, the center? The
Guard.
Yeah, I think he's more of a center. He was drafted as a center. I don't know if he. I mean, I think he's a good player, right?
He's played well, and he's 26. He's grading well.
I get it. I just don't. Yeah, probably.
I thought about the right tackle, but we already have Mims. But yeah, he was the best right tackle in the league the last couple of years, right?
No, that guy fell off.
He fell off. Okay.
Ramczyk or whatever.
Yeah, out of Wisconsin. Yeah.
I don't think he's been very good.
I'm more interested in kind of piece for piece, or at least defense for defense. Like if Trey is the only goddamn defense we had last year. So if he's not going to be on this team and it's going to benefit the team by trading him, man, I want to trade him for someone that's on that line, because we're taking away the only fucking thing that we had. We would have been goddamn fucking 0-17 last year if it's not for Trey.
My argument to that is strictly you hope Al Golden is a good defensive coach and everyone is he gets the best out of everybody. But I'm with you, Chop. I don't think losing great players helps your team.
I'm just saying I don't want to lose Trey for a fucking running back or a tight end.
Or second or third round draft pick that we haven't been great
especially
at.
For next year, you know?
I mean, but we're just trying to go through scenarios.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Do you have anything on the Bears? I'm going to be right back. I'll let you talk Bears, and then you guys can kick around stuff. Then we'll go to pick. This is pick 10, by the way, in the first round, but you're also thinking second round because that's where we're talking when it comes to trade value for Trey, in my opinion, second round.
I mean, if you're wanting to entertain Chop and just look strictly defense, Dexter Sr. is, he's pretty solid on the interior line. I still love Andrew Billings. I think he's a solid piece you could have. Greg brought up Sweat. He's been okay. Safeties are probably out of the question right now.
Yeah.
Edmonds at linebacker, he's been very average his entire career, if not below average.
He got paid highly. I remember him and Pratt were like the two linebackers. Didn't Edmonds get a huge contract from the Bears?
Yeah, he did. And then TJ Edwards, maybe. I mean, he's been kind of on the decline too. He's been a really good linebacker during his career. Last year, he didn't play well. But with the Bears, it's a little hit or miss there. They have more options than the Saints. Offensively, they're not going to give up anybody on the line. They just traded for all of that.
Yeah.
Tight end doesn't interest me. There's no receivers that particularly interest me.
Joe Tooney's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah. I don't think they're going to give him
their most interesting trade piece they just got.
Right.
Hey, you need a backup quarterback, man. Let's just trade for.
Caleb Williams could be the backup.
You could go, if you wanted to, and this would more or less be a throw-in, would be Roschon Johnson. And I know you guys were high on him.
Oh, yeah, I was very high on him, yeah.
Beyond that, maybe I was going to say DeAndre Swift, but he was terrible. That's about it. The guy that called Willie Lutz out, what did he call him? Darnell Wright, that lineman.
Yeah, Darnell Wright.
Yeah, Darnell Wright. That was hilarious. You're not going to get a lineman, though.
Dude, Willie Lutz and Katie Blackburn, I think, are best friends. Right?
I don't know. Katie sued my friend, so I'm not super.
I'm just saying, like, Willie has been, like, on Twitter, like, bashing her. I'm like, damn. I mean, I don't disagree with what he's saying, but he's, like, putting her Twitter handle up, which she hasn't made a post since, like, 2023. But
I know.
Because I was like, is that her? I didn't know she was on Twitter, so I went and looked, and it's actually her.
Yeah, she just does not Doesn't
Well,
use it.
probably because people are tagging her like
Probably because people like really
this
are blowing her
this
up.
person at this address refuses to modernize and all this stuff. Like, I don't disagree with what Willie's saying at all. It's just kind of comical because I'm a people watcher, so it's kind of comical to sit back and watch that kind of shit on Twitter. But what else from Chicago?
Picks.
And so they picked 10 and then probably what, like 40, 44 or something like that?
I don't have the draft order up. I'd have to see.
As far as safety goes with a trade, I'm telling you, and I know that I've had feelings before, but I just feel like it's going to be Watts at 49 with Al Golden because he's got somebody come in here that ran his defense in Notre Dame and will come in here and really help him out his first year. Plus, he's good safety. So I don't think it's anything with a safety that we're going to do. I hope it's D-line if there's a trade. But I think that this is a lot of knee-jerk reaction because I really still think that whatever he gets offered somewhere, the Bengals are going to see if they can, if what he wants to do. I mean, if Trey wants over $30 million a year,
Ball's in the Bengals' court. Trey's under contract. People tend to forget that.
I mean, the only thing he can do is say, I'm not going to play, but I don't think that would help Trey at all sitting out this year.
No, he's getting too old to sit out a year. So
Boom.
He's not going to sit out.
No.
So he's either going to play here or get traded. Like he's not sitting out. The holdout's not going to happen at 31 years old for Trey.
And what's he get this year? 16 million? Is that right?
Something like that. I think it's 18.
I'm just saying, like, if that's the case, man, and the Bengals, if they don't, I hope they get some. I hope they don't fucking get rid of him for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like right. They did Tooney, like a 4th round pick. Even this year, a 4th round pick. No, I mean, let's win. So if I have a feeling he's not going to hold out. He might be disgruntled a bit, but he's going to go in there and play his ass off because it's a contract year and he wants to get out and he'll go test a free agency by himself, unless they tag him. But
right.
I think that it's a knee-jerk reaction. Let's see how it plays out. I'm waiting to be upset about it if it's a bad trade.
Santorius, I know you're into math and all that, so I'm just going to ask you straight up: what % chance do you see Trey like saying, you know what, I don't like my market out there, I'll just sit here and take a contract? If you had to guess a percentage right now.
Right now, 50-50.
50-50. Okay, I didn't know if you were going
that high. Yes. You're going that high?
Well,
that high which way?
It's 50-50, bro.
I know, but
I think lower. I think much lower. I think the fact they granted him a trade request.
I thought you were going to say yes. I thought you were going to say yes.
They're clearly nowhere close on contract. For me personally, I think it's more like 10% he comes back to the Bengals and takes a deal. 10.
I got to tell you, I think I'm at 60. I think I'm at 60 because I'm trying to figure out who's going to pay. If the Bengals offered him, I mean, this might shoot Trey in the foot unless they. What if he goes
really
out
know
there,
what the Bengals offered him though.
I'm just saying, let's pretend like the rumor about the $30 million is true.
I will say the Bengals offered him between 25 and 28 in reality.
Right.
Okay, but let's just say the rumor is 30.
Okay.
All right.
30 to 32 is
the rumor. So who the hell's paying him that much? I mean, there might be a team come along that pays him. I think that his value's down because of his age.
But he's the sack leader. I had to do that.
You're right. But every day, one day, the sack leaders, they ain't got it anymore. And I'm not saying that's Trey this year. I'm just saying that people have a decline when they get older besides me. I'm like a fine wine. I
Santori,
get better.
Yeah, Santori's having some internet issues.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Greg, we'll flip the question back on you. What's your percentage?
You know what? If I had to guess, I'm just saying, as of right now, 30-70. I just don't see it. I mean, when he said, like, I thank you for your time, Lily's saying goodbye right there. But, I mean, look, I hope they work something out. But
Trey said something?
What?
Did Trey say something?
No, I'm just saying. You remember when he said, thank you for my time and all that in the original? Yeah, you didn't see him say that? Here, hold on.
I'm not sure.
No. Give me a sec here, if you would. Oh, crap me.
Yeah, I know our guy Dusty, Bengals Army here. He has not been happy with the direction.
No, here's what he said. Said Hendrickson. He says, "I love the city and the organization. I appreciate the privilege now being allowed to explore my options." So, I mean, that sounds like a goodbye, right?
No.
Not necessarily.
I guess not necessarily.
Hearing
Like
that
explore
doesn't sound
options.
too bad. Like explore my options. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I am interested to see what other teams offer him.
Yeah,
and it'll be a good needle on for the Bengals fans too to see. And one day those numbers will probably come out what he was offered. So it'll be a good way to gauge what the Bengals are offering. You know.
And what Satori says, we have to accept the trade. It's not like he's a free agent or anything. He can just go do whatever he wants. Like say if some team does offer this money, but the trade is shit, we have every right to say hell no.
Right, and then they just play him this year.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year,
the extension wasn't last season; it was the year before, right? He wanted another one last offseason. And honestly, in hindsight, though, you kind of wish they would have got that done because it probably would have been at a much cheaper price before Max Crosby.
But Chop, going back to the thing, if he played under $60 million, I think I could easily see where he's like, "Look, I'm not playing on that contract. I'm going to sit out or retire if I have to." He told the Bengals that also too. But
that's what I don't want, Greg. That's exactly what I don't want.
Remember what Hugh Jackson said, Dale? That affects the locker room horribly when that happens.
He said more than you, and it happens more than you know.
Yeah.
But this is a clear example where the guy wants out. Yeah. So to me, it's like he wants out or he wants them to pay him. One or the other. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And he's not going to play under his current contract. I don't see a world where he plays this season under his current contract.
And I don't blame him. $60 million, that is an insult.
Right.
At the very least, what I would pay him personally, just because he's 31, I would pay him the very highest 27 maybe.
But this all goes away when he tests the market and they all offer him 25.
I think someone's offering over 30 for Trey on the open market.
But just say, Torres, we were
and even in a trade. See, in a trade, you got to give up value. So how much will they offer in a trade, which is the scenario we're in now, to be fair.
So, Torres, as we were talking, say if the Lions, they offer Trey a good, decent contract. Say if it was the Lions. They say, hey, we'll give you $33 million a season, but they offer you a shitty trade. You do not have to do that trade, obviously, right?
No, and then I would just give Trey 33 and move on.
Yeah, but you're going to have to pay him. He's not going to play under his current. So that's the thing with the Bengals. Like, how dug in are they on their number that we don't know, right? We can only go – it was Mike Dardish yesterday that said he's heard that works for WLWT, so I want to give credit to who said it. 30 to 32 million was offered for Trey. If he's being offered 30 to 32 million, my opinion is a deal should be done.
Yes.
I mean, because if you want long-term security and they're offering you a 2-year extension more at, let's just say it's 32, why is the deal not done? Come on, that is more than fair at a place that you say you love. And I'm not turning on Trey. I love him. I'm not turning on
not at
him.
all.
But I'm just saying, I would think that's why I just don't know if those numbers are correct. So I'm having a hard time believing those numbers are correct.
But Santor, go back to your saying, why do you say, I'm just curious, why do you say 50-50? Like, why so high, decent high of a number at 50?
I just think that he's going to see the market, and it's probably going to be pretty close to what he was offered in Cincinnati. And where he's under contract, the Bengals have the ultimate say of, I can either match it or you're going to stay here or I'll grant the trade. So maybe it's a 1/3 split, really, because there's 3 options. And if the Bengals say we're not matching it, he's 31 years old at that point. Is he really going to sit out a year under contract and
That's what I'm saying.
Screw himself? I don't know. He might be willing to do that, but he's in a little bit of a tough spot there because he can't bite the hand that feeds him right now.
Exactly.
But he'll never have to use a poker term, a better hand than he has right now.
Correct. So that's why I think it's kind of equal leverage on both sides. So there's 3 options. So maybe I should say 33%, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's not playing for the Bengals next year.
To be fair, I'm a pessimist. So I say 10% because I am a pessimist. And you guys know this about me. I look at what's the worst that could happen? And it's no deal getting done. And it's just trying to force him to play, and he doesn't. That is the worst possible option.
Yes.
So
It's
in a way, I kind of hope he's traded
Right.
if they're nowhere close on numbers.
Well,
But
I also
I
think
don't
that's the
know
worst
numbers.
option for him. So I don't know. It's the worst option for him. So I don't think he does that either.
That's a good theory, Santori. I'm going to start thinking that way.
Not me. I'm a pessimist.
No, I'm JK because that's what I've been saying. I think he's going to test the market. He's going to find out that he doesn't have exactly the value he thinks. Dale thinks he'll get offered over $30 million from another team. I'm skeptical about that, and I think that maybe he'll be humbled by the market and then come back and realize that the Bengals made him a good fucking offer. I mean, if it's that $30 million, that's ridiculous. That's crazy money. I feel like.
Well, a lot of $1 million's crazy money for us.
Yeah, dude. $10 right now. Fuck, man.
I'll take
Buy
a
me a
Mick
soda.
Pick too.
What'd you say, Santori?
Take a Mick Pick too. I'm broke as hell.
Yeah. No.
All right. Do we want to go through any other teams?
I just want to say one thing regarding the Bears. They have that motherfucker Kevin Byard. It was the first name that popped up when I went to their PFF, and I was like, "Son of a bitch, this man."
This is a Madden joke between me and Santori because we played Madden against each other in the past, not lately, because I'd whoop his ass. Probably not.
Probably.
But Greg always beats me too. I'll give Greg his credit.
I got to tell you, if I played Madden, everybody would beat the shit out of me because I haven't played video games.
Probably
since
not.
1982.
Chop would not even be trying and just dominate.
I had Santori beat one time. I was playing with Lamar. It was very realistic. Santori's playing deep coverage. I had to do wide open downfield, and Lamar overthrew the guy by like 10 yards. And I had a clear way of beating.
You played Madden, you picked the Ravens?
Yeah, I liked running with
They're kind of a cheat code in Madden, to be fair.
they're
Yeah.
cheap running. I like running quarterbacks. Santori kind of figured me out on that.
See, I don't even have edge as a need for them, for the Dolphins.
Never have
I
enough.
could be
We don't have
wrong.
any.
No, I
Right.
agree. And a dominant one, right? Maybe they just got a bunch of solid dudes, but maybe they would go for that. So Houday Bruce said Trey will be traded to the Dolphins. They have a lot of draft picks. So I mean, can't rule them out. I just don't have that. I don't know what you get from them. The Cowboys could be. The Cowboys have freed up a lot of money, to be fair. They've got restructured a lot of money for CD.
Trade
Dak,
for
a lot of
Micah.
guys.
And CD Lamb restructured, but there's no way they're going to pay Parsons and Trey.
That's
And
fair.
I would imagine.
So that's why Greg, say it again. Say
Trade
it again.
for Micah.
Yeah. Trade for Micah Parsons. Let's go.
I mean, if you're Jerry Jones, though, and you're going to give that $30 million to somebody, are you giving it to Parsons or Hendrickson?
Well, Parsons is going to get closer to 37.
I'm just saying, if that's okay.
So he ain't getting it here if we trade for him. So basically, it's not going to work out for us either.
So I want your guys' opinion on this. Whitworth just came out with a
We
tweet.
talked about that one.
This is what Andrew Whitworth said. Why is everybody being so dramatic? A player demands to be paid X. I don't feel good about paying X. I say, well, hold on to your rights. So if X will only make you happy, go out there and explore your real options. Come back to me with the number other teams are willing to pay you while keeping in mind you mean to me. So my compensation needs to be included. Now we can have a full, transparent conversation about your worth to them, to me, and maybe what it means just to stay. I mean, ... seems transparent, logical answer to me.
I wonder because I don't really consider myself.
What I said 10 minutes ago.
I don't consider myself a smart man, but I'm pretty sure my first thought on this whole thing was about Trey. And Dale, you said 10%. Santori, you said
I said
50%.
10, but
I
also
said
when
60%.
I talked to Santori, I said I seen Andre Parada put out there. Santori said he put the same thing out there, and I said I was on the treadmill and was thinking the same thing. Matthew Stafford situation. Go look at your options, and then they can come back. I put 10% because I'm pessimistic.
No, I put 60, and I tell you what,
I
was
see
gonna
the vision for how that works. Like it makes sense, right? Go see what your market is.
Yeah.
If someone's willing to give you 35 and give us a second rounder, okay.
The
We're
Bengals
offering
It's going to
you-
happen.
Let's just say it's 30. We're offering you 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. If somebody offers you more and you don't want to be here, they also have to trade for us. It makes sense. And Whitworth's right. Santori said the same thing.
I just wish it wasn't like a few days before free agency.
I get it, Chop. I get it.
It's a very
And I'm sure that's gonna.
untimely.
Well, and
The clock is ticking, right? This
Well, and
needs
that's why
worked
they
out
do
one way or the other.
Hurry the
that's
fuck
why
up,
they
Trey.
do it right now. That's why Trey decided to do this with his agent right now, because it speeds the Bengals clock up. If you're going to get any more money out of the Bengals, it's going to be in the next 3 or 4 days.
Yep. It's going to be before Monday at noon. Or
So it's
I
no
can tell you-
coincidence. It's
You're
no
going to know if
coincidence.
Trey's getting a contract extension with the Bengals probably this week.
Yeah.
by Monday morning.
Well, this week's only got
you
2
should
days
know.
left.
So whether a trade happens, whatever happens, it's going to happen within a couple of days. This isn't going to stretch out for weeks, right?
I mean, it could, yes,
okay.
but in an ideal world, because the Bengals, the cap space, that's what I'm saying. If you're not going to get a deal done, if you're nowhere in the same realm of possibilities on money, that's the reason you make a trade. So you can use the money to improve your team when free agency starts, because the top market guys, the best players, and it's not a good free agency class, they're gone. They're gone by day 2, day 3 of free agency. They're gone. They're off the market.
So
Period.
can I play GM for a second, though? Because I guarantee you this is how Katie and Mike Brown are thinking at the moment, money-wise. Because Trey's under contract, right? So he can't just go sign a deal somewhere unless I trade him.
Right.
Okay? If they're convinced that Trey's going to be here anyway, then they know worst-case scenario that they're going to pay him 18 or whatever it is.
16.
Right? 16 or 18. So in their mind, if I don't extend him, I've got more money for free agency and I can try and deal with this later. Or I pony up dough now and have less money for free agency and give a 30-year-old $100 million. So on their end, from a business perspective, it does wait to draw. It does make sense for them to draw it out in order to fill out the rest of your team.
Yeah.
In their eyes.
Let me say this to what you were saying, as I was thinking about this too, is that like if the free agency starts and this is still going on, if I'm the Bengals, I feel like I go out and I get a free agent at that position. And even
they
if
have money, right? They have money.
I'm saying even if it's a free agent that I pay $28 million a year, it's a good free agent and $28 million a year. And then guess what?
Not at edge. You can't do it at edge, and you lost your leverage at that point.
Well, you didn't. I got to finish though.
Okay.
And then just make Trey play out his last goddamn year at $18 million. And then we can't just. I just don't see how we go into free agency with Trey on this trade thing, and we don't know what's going on at that position because there's nobody else at that position right now. And so, how do you go into free agency and don't act on that position with the possibility that your player's not going to be there? So, if that's the case, then just get a free agent in here that can, fill that role somewhat. I mean, probably not going to be the sack leader, but still, I'm just saying I wouldn't scrimp money on the player that you get at that position, because just let him play it out. I mean,
I don't think he'll play out his contract for Tom's.
You think he'll sit out?
I don't think he'll play for that contract. So yes, my opinion.
I mean, what if he sits out though? What do you think he does next year?
He gets really, really healthy. And he's 31 years old with back-to-back sack leader titles under him.
Let's just say he sat out. Wouldn't he
it
get
hurts the Bengals more than anything, though, because
how much would
the PR hit of how they fucked this up?
Yep.
Yes. Well, do you know what? This is if you ask me, if I'm Duke Tobin, I'm a little bit upset with the front office because they had him go out and talk like this was all going to get done, and then they ain't showed their goddamn faces, and Duke Tobin is the one with egg on his face right now.
He didn't sound super confident about
I didn't think he did either. Even when we talked about it, I said I felt like he left little clauses in there, little escape routes, just in case. He was a little bit vague.
But why is the T contract not done? That's why I was so pissed Monday.
Yeah.
I was more pissed Monday than I am today, because Monday is when they decided to franchise tag T. And I get it. You have to do it. But it also tells me you're not close on a deal. And they were they were very adamant about getting a deal done for him. At least Duke was, you know what I'm saying? the egg on the face is from that one more than
Well,
Trey.
they wanted to get it done before Tuesday. They wanted to avoid the tag altogether.
And it didn't happen.
Mm-mm.
So with all this out there with Trey, I think. So what? In the next 24 hours, could we see a long-term extension for T? This is pivoting on the conversation. Yes, it's a Trey-centric conversation, but this almost seems like something the Bengals would try to do, at least from a PR perspective, right?
If you buy into the Twitter sphere in Twitter rumors, the rumors are that they want to have that deal done tomorrow. If you buy into that stuff. So yeah, it sounds like it could be if you buy those things. I do think that if an extension gets done, it will happen before the tampering period starts for sure. Because I think they want that done financially before free agency.
Well, they should, right? Because you're a contract guy. You know, you're very good with all these numbers. So explain to us the benefit of that. Explain the benefit of not having that 26. I mean, I know a little bit because you've schooled me a little bit, but you explain it way better than I ever could.
Sure. So there's cap and cash, right? Cap hit is very, very fabricated in what you actually charge to the cap. You can move that money around. That's why people say cap is a myth, right?
Yep.
Cash is owed out day one, okay? T. Higgins' cash right now and his cap right now are what the franchise tag is worth, which is like 26.2 or whatever it is, right? If he goes into this year with that contract, that's $26 million cash that the Bengals cut out right now. And that's a $26 million cap hit that they cut out right now, right? Let's say T gets an extension that's 3 years, 90. Well, let's just hang on that $30 million number to make it easy. He very well could have a cap hit of 18, 15, 19 million dollars as opposed to 26 because of the way you backload and spread out those cap hits. You would save $7 to $10 million against the cap, which is, more for Jamar Chase's extension, which, by the way, his cap hit will go down too on an extension. The only one whose number goes up with an extension right now because of the way the numbers cut out would be Trey Hendrickson. So fitting Trey under the cap with a $30 million hit or $32 million hit becomes a lot easier if T is extended. You afford more players with extensions.
Or outside free agents.
Correct. The more extensions you do, the more cap you have. So when people go, oh, they don't have cap space, how are they going to do extensions? Well, extensions are how you get more cap space because you can move the money around. Tag is, it's just all there 1 year, big hit. Remember, the other thing is with T.
Sorry, I seen Greg looking.
It's all right. But let's say it's 3 years, 90 for T. Well, you can have void years. You can have 3 void years. That means you can essentially move $90 million over 5 years if you want to, 6 years. The cap hit is not going to be $30 million for T. It's just not. If it's, a 3-year contract, you do 3 void years to really stretch this thing out and give yourself flexibility. I mean, what is that? That's $15 million a year, which is significantly less than we paid him last year. And with the cap exploding every year, you have to look at it as a proportion to the cap.
Which is why I get frustrated that they don't get these deals.
Right. The sooner you sign guys, the better, because the cap always goes up. They essentially get cheaper every
That's what the Eagles do, right? That's what the Eagles are doing, and they draft well. But continue.
Right. So extensions, especially if you structure them right, which that's the other thing that the Bengals struggle with, is they're a little archaic in their structure.
Yes.
The guys get cheaper by the year. Joe Burrow's percentage of cap hit this year is 16.2%. Okay, I mean, that sounds high. It's really not. Next year, it's 15.9. He's cheaper, even though his cap hit goes up because of the expected cap increase. Sign the guys. They get cheaper per year. They really do.
Yep.
So, I mean, in case in point, You had an offer for T at like $22 million a year 2 years ago.
What a steal that would be.
$22 million right now?
You paid him what? 20? Was it 23
21?
last year? 21 and
Yeah,
26?
it's the same as what you would have paid him last year. And the cap went up again.
And had another year or two, depending how many years you did.
And that's the average, mind you. So he very well could be making like 14 this year because a lot of those cap hits are backloaded.
It is confusing, but Santori does try to make it as simple as possible. Because we will have conversation. I'll be like, dumb this down for me.
Here, the easiest way to explain it is like a car payment. Okay. Let's say your car payment's $200 a month for the next 3 months, right? So you have $600. Okay. The way the contracts are structured, you may only pay $50 this month. You may pay $250 next month, and you may pay $300 the next month, the remaining balance, whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
But let's say that you make more money every month. And in that third month, your monthly budget goes from $2,000 a month to $4,000 a month. That $300 doesn't mean shit to you anymore. You get more money every month.
That $50 at the beginning did because I needed it. I needed not to be paying the average.
So, the payments go like this, but the salary cap goes like that.
Right.
The salary cap grows faster than what contracts increase. The salary cap on average goes up about 8%. This year it went up like 11. Contracts typically go up about 5%. So every year you are gaining 3% on your investment just by signing the guy. Screw it, sign him. They're going to be cheaper in 3 years anyway.
I got to tell you, whatever deal Trey gets, whether it's here or another team, I hope that he gets enough where he can afford a dozen eggs. Because them shits are expensive now.
We'll be done with the money talk because it's
it's very interesting. Like I don't understand any of this either, Santori. So I need it dumbed down so far that you drool a little bit while you're telling me.
All right, price of eggs. Compare it to the price of eggs.
Compare to the price of eggs.
We'll make it really easy. Okay. Let's say this month I give you $10.
Yeah.
And your eggs are $1.
Ooh.
Okay. That's 10% of everything you have. Okay. Next month you have $30, but the eggs are $2. Okay.
Yeah.
That's less than 10% of everything. And then the next month I give you $40 and the eggs are $3. Your eggs are getting cheaper by proportion of how much money you have, even though your egg price.
Let me do this analogy and see if this one works because I'm a fucking idiot. And so if I can understand it with this analogy, I can help anybody else that's a fucking idiot.
Do it with your gummies.
I don't have any gummy bears.
Okay.
But anyway, let me just say this. 2 cars are racing down the highway, Santori, and one starts off in the back. But over here, you got a fucking Subaru. They're not built for speed. All right.
Built for
over here,
lesbians. My daughter's one. Just saying.
Over here, you got a Corvette. But the Corvette starts off like a mile behind, but they're doing a 50-mile race. Well, that goddamn Subaru is going to put the pedal to the metal, might be getting it up to like a whole 58 miles an hour at top speed downhill. But here comes the fucking Corvette coming up from the back. Now, the Subaru is the pay that you're paying the player. The Corvette is the cap going, and it's going to shoot right past that player, right?
Correct.
And it'll be more, and then the player will look like you're making a deal, right? Is that a good analogy?
Yeah.
The cap is growing faster than whatever deal you're going to make with the player, and it's going to seem like a good deal.
Correct.
Okay.
The cap grows faster than what the player's pay increase is, so pay them.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm not on the whole. I know that everybody's like, they should have paid Jamar last year, but I don't think Jamar wanted any less last year than he wants this year. I understand the Triple Crown this year. It just gives him more leverage, but I don't think that the number changed in Jamar's head. I think last year he wanted 40, and I think this year he wants 40.
So supposedly they agreed at one point on 35. Supposedly.
Last year?
Yeah.
And then what was it? The guaranteed money, I guess?
Yeah. So the average annual value was fine. So last year was 35 of 255, which is 13.7%. Okay. Because that's how you have to look at it. The percentage of the cap.
Well, it's pie. We're all getting a piece.
Everybody hates that analogy, but it's true.
It is true. You're right.
This year, it's 40 of 280, which is 14%. So he went just a little bit more. He wanted a little bit more slice of the pie. Not much more. 0.5% in the grand scheme of things is not much.
I got you, Dusty.
0.5% on $250 million when you're splitting it among 53 guys really isn't all that much. So he's basically asking for the same contract, the same slice of the pie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tom's right.
The guaranteed money. Yeah, he's talking about guaranteed money, Santori, and that's
Well,
always something. So
this is where. Sorry for cutting you off.
No. I was just trying to pitch it to you. The guaranteed money.
This is where the hang-up is with the Bengals with guaranteed money. Guaranteed money has to be cut out in cash right away. Okay, so you'll see that a guy's got a signing bonus. You'll see a guy's got he got a $25 million signing bonus, $50 million guaranteed. Okay. That means the Bengals have to cut a $50 million check that day. I don't know about you, but Jerry Jones has a little bit more financial flexibility to cut the cash than Mike Brown does.
Oh, he's a tight ass too, though, to be honest.
He is, but some owners have more money, and that's where we get into the conversation where it is kind of like baseball. If you've got the cash, because remember, cash gets prorated over the length of the contracts.
Which the Eagles, you could sell part of your team, but continue with this, then we'll get to.
Yep. So if you've got an owner with a high level of financial liquidity, they can cut these higher deals at a higher rate. The Bengals have to mortgage out part of their stadium to go to Skyline, mind you, to pay for Joe's contract. That's why they did all of that. Other teams don't necessarily have to do that. Mike Brown's income is strictly from the Bengals in the NFL. Jerry Jones owns oil.
Security. He probably collects Social Security too.
Maybe. Jerry Jones owns oil. The guy that founded the Panthers was part of the .com era, the booming and all the technology. That's kind of why the Steelers and the Bengals operate the same way, because the Rooney family gets their money from the Steelers. When you look at some of these other owners, like the fact that the Browns are constantly able to restructure these high contracts. Jimmy Haslam owns most of the shipping companies in Ohio. They have more financial flexibility. The Bengals aren't necessarily cash poor, but comparatively speaking, they don't have the flexibility that a lot of these other teams do have. And that's just a fact. Yep, sponsors would help. And I know Dale's probably getting to this here in a second, but being able to allow investors to purchase part of your team would help.
Yeah, right. That's something. So you talk about it, right? Because it's out there. The Eagles done it. The Raiders, a couple other teams have done it now.
Right.
So sell a portion of, right. Still keep full control.
Is that true? Denver's owned by Walmart? I did not know that.
Yes, the Walton family bought the Broncos. You talk about having some financial flexibility.
No shit, man. Maybe Jeff Bezos can come in here. Ooh.
Hopefully.
The Amazon gate. We'll go through that one to get to our seats.
Yeah. So you look at, teams are able to sell a portion of their team to get these rights, right? Now, you don't lose any control as an owner. Your GM, your front office, Duke and Katie would still be able to do what they want to do, but you would have, say, Jeff Bezos, for sake of argument, purchase 20% of the team and buy in and constantly be shoveling in money as part of that contract.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that. They just passed that rule. By the way, fun fact, 31 teams voted to have investors. One team didn't. Guess who it was? Which is mind-boggling to me because they're the team that fucking needs it.
The same owner that votes no to everything that everybody else votes yes.
Whenever there's a 31-1 vote in the NFL, I just know who voted.
Right. Exactly.
There's zero questions.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm interested in this. How about you, Chop? Read it for the podcast listeners.
We got to sell one of those to buy oil princesses. We would be the most flexible team out there. They got liquid gold. Yes.
You probably meant princes, but a princess sounds so much better, which is why.
I'm not interested in chipping in on a prince, but I was going to say, like, if the Bengals want to, I'll sell a box of candy bars door to door. If all of us fans do that.
If every single Bengal fan sold $5 worth of Bengal candy bars,
Yes.
we could pay for Joe Burrow right
Bengal
now.
bars. Who wants them? Yeah, let's do that. Let's put
Greg's
together a
entire room, his house will be just made of bricks of Bengal bars.
And then the Bengals would
fuck
raise
out
their
of 'em.
prices on tickets. They would raise their prices on parking, and they would say, "Thank you for getting us here, and we
Right.
don't give a shit. We're looking at our bottom line."
Thanks for helping us out and selling all them Bengal candy bars door to door.
I'm getting negative.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Don't do
negative.
it, Dale. This is a positivity area. Good thing you're 2 hours away, because here in the Natty, where all of us are, it's we're very positive here.
But it was like, can the Bengals extend all three? We knew they had the cap. The cash, questionable if they have it or not, which is part of the conversation.
They
right?
do.
But they have it, to be fair.
Can I go over how much cash they have or how much
Yes.
they spend? So that's a ratio of the cap. The Bengals routinely spend about 108 to 110% of whatever the cap is. So if it's 300, they're going to spend 330. If it's 200, they're going to spend 220. If it's 280, they're going to spend about 320 this year. Okay. They only have about 140 to 130 on the books right now. They have about $180 million in cash. Now, half of that's going to go to Jamar,
Yeah.
but they have a metric ton of cap room and a metric ton of cash. If there's one thing they aren't this year, they aren't cash poor right now. So don't let them say that we're running out of money this year. That's not true right now.
How does this affect it, Santori? So, like, because I always think if you're winning, I think the same thing with, like, the Reds. You know, if you're winning, you got more butts in the seats, you're selling more merchandise, you're selling more at your concession stands, everybody's happier. They're buying more beer.
So I think the number that they said, and I don't know what it was for the Bengals, but the downtown Cincinnati area, just from the week of the Super Bowl, I think they brought in an extra $2 or $3 million in revenue just from those 7 days for the Bengals existing. It makes a ton of money when you do that stuff.
Why are they so resistant to want to have a consistent winner?
I don't know if they're resistant. I think that they're just penny pinchers.
That's not a good way to operate an NFL team, I feel like.
That's just the family's mindset, and that's not just the way they operate the Bengals. That's the way that family lives. I don't like spreading rumors, but I do know this story to be true.
Spread them all.
Yeah, come on now.
This one happened to my friend, so I can tell you for a fact. My friend owns a catering company and catered for the Blackburn family at a private event they had at their house. He went into the house. They went to start cooking, and oftentimes caterers are allowed to use like the ovens and stoves and everything. And they went to use the oven in the Blackburn's kitchen, and the door snapped off.
What?
And the Blackburn said something to the effect of, we don't cook at home. We eat out all the time. I'm sure you can understand that. Just don't worry about the oven. And they're like, okay, whatever. Well, the catering company sent the invoice in for the private event, and the Blackburns sent back an invoice for them to fix their oven and claim that they broke it. It basically got all their catering for free out of it.
What?
Because they threatened to sue my friend for destroying their kitchen. That's the way that family operates.
We're never going to beat these cheap allegations.
They're cheap as hell. They really are. And that's the way that they operate in day-to-day life. They find a way to just not spend money. And that some people do that. There's, be frugal. But when you're in a competitive market where spending money is the way that you win, you can't be that way.
Yeah. I feel like my positivity is waning more and more.
It's building, you're getting more positive?
No, I'm getting way less positive because these cheap ass motherfuckers
yeah.
don't want to fucking They're so set in their ways. They're so set in their ways. They don't modernize. They don't hire more scouts. They don't do anything. Oh, we can't guarantee the money. Oh, we can't do that. You're a fucking $1 billion business. Your value has gone up by owning
$6 billion.
Bengals. Fucking, you're on the Forbes list, you cut.
Well, let me say this. Like you were saying earlier, Mike Dardis is the one that was talking about what they offered the different players. But I think he also said, like, and if you read through the comments, people are fucking dogging him. But he's like, and they're talking about the ownership and stuff. And he was like, I understand where you're coming from, but the people that are making most of the decisions in the Bengals right now are the younger generation coming in, which makes me think of like Elizabeth.
I have to get this comment. Travis
It's not.
says,
It's
shit,
not Mike. It's
Blackburn/Browns sound like my uncle.
Yeah,
that's a funny comment. That's funny.
It's Troy and Katie, and you got to remember that Katie and Troy raised Caroline and Elizabeth. So I mean, this is a generational thing.
He did it. He sneezed and he turned off the video and not the audio. He did it. I love you, Greg. Sorry, Miles.
Look, I'm going to go back, Robert, and say you were here earlier in the show too, but like I wouldn't count any of these eggs, the chickens in them, before they hatch. I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all when Trey is still here this next season.
All right. Greg hasn't talked in like 8 years. He keeps sneezing. Greg, give me some positivity before we go back to Santori. It brings me back to earth from your.
I was going to give you something.
In honor of Santori, in honor of
you can add on to his positivity.
Santori, you're a big Disney guy like I am. By the way, I watched Can of Worms for 2 or 3 minutes. I couldn't force myself to.
You watch what?
No. Santori, we're going to go to a Goofy movie here. He's got the high hopes. He's got high apple pie in the sky. That's just me, guys. I'm sorry.
All right, but give me a reason to be positive.
All right. Look, so Andrew Whitworth, like he's been tweeting, this is part of the process. It doesn't mean we're necessarily trading Trey or anything. Okay? Let's just take a deep breath. Hey, I look, guys, I'm going to stay positive, and I don't care. That's just how I am. I love this team no matter what. I know you all do too. We all want a Super Bowl. I'm just going to stay positive. None of you like that. I'm sorry.
I have a Trey Hendrickson jersey, and I still will love it. I should have wore it. I should have wore that and the shirt underneath it, Chop. I fucked up.
Here's reasons to be positive.
Yep.
Okay. They've been buying a shit ton of land, which is something we didn't anticipate them doing. They did the entire locker room, which is something we didn't anticipate them doing. They're currently building an indoor practice facility, which while it took them forever, we never anticipated them doing that. They sold naming rights to the stadium, which if you know anything about Mike Brown, probably killed him to take his dad's name off of it.
Even the gates they sold.
Gates, if you look at the contract structure for Joe Burrow.
That Fred. Oh, wait.
There are rolling guarantees in there, which helps the Bengals. And there are void years. They have done several things over the last 5 years that we would deem un-Bengal-like and un-Blackburn-like and
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
There's rumors that they are going to build a brick-and-mortar Hall of Fame for the Bengals. That's something that has been brought to my attention.
They should.
There was at one point that the county owed the Bengals like $30 million for renovations on the stadium, and the Bengals waived it. And that was about 5 years ago. They have done things that allude that they are not as frugal as they have been in the past. The fact that they are extending a $30 million offer to Trey and T and a $40 million offer to Jamar after signing a quarterback while building all of these facilities. They are spending a metric fuck ton of money right now. They really are.
Metric fuck ton.
Now they're cheap.
Oh, wow.
But
hey, I don't know if this will help out the Bengals. This may help us out with Gesicki, but the Jaguars just got rid of Ingram, the tight end.
Yeah, I'd be interested at the right price. He's been injured a lot, but
yeah.
Why don't we just sign Gesicki for like
exactly
2
I
years?
think that didn't. I thought I read something. There's an offer on the table somewhere or something.
I don't see his value is everywhere in the Twitterverse. I will say, for me, we talked about, Greg, like the high end, and I think we're at the high end, especially with the cap, the 11% increase Santori talked about. 2 years, $16 million, I think makes sense for both sides.
Right.
So what? All right, I'll go Greg, Chop, and then you, Santori. What is your opinion on Gesicki and a contract? Knowing all that with the cap going up the way it's going up.
You like I say, Gesicki, when he signed for 1 year, 3 years, and the season he had, some team I was talking to a buddy of mine. If he stays with the Bengals, there's going to be a team out there that would have offered him way more with the Bengals. I mean, reasonably to keep him here, you have to pay him $8 million. I could see some team out there maybe paying him $11 or $12 million per year for 2 years. Maybe that.
If he hits the open market, right? But how much do you want to be here? It's part of that.
2 years, $16 million.
But there's options. Okay, before I let you go, Chuck, there's options. There's Michael Mayer. There's you do a Kyle Pitts and a second round pick.
Michael Mayer. Let's just do that.
Well,
you already have Michael Mayer. His name is Drew Sample.
No, come on now. Fuck you. Fuck you for saying that one. I remember that.
That was very laden with sarcasm for those watching.
Brock Bowers for Trey Hendrickson.
How much did Mike get paid this year? Was it $7
million?
$3. I think that he should get I think they should offer him a 2 or 3 year deal at about $7-8 million a year.
About Tree Fitty.
Yeah.
I agree, Chop. I agree.
I think that he would take that deal.
2-3 years, $7-8 million per year. Yep.
He said that he's never been used like he's been used in Cincinnati. So if he wants to show off his talents and he wants to go with the Super Bowl contender, here it is. And you're going to get paid nicely to be. What's the top tight end position pay?
Kind of is.
What's the highest?
I think Kittle's getting like 25 this year.
Holy fuck! Well,
I mean, you're talking. But you're talking.
Kittle is on the back end of it's the last year of his extension where everything's backloaded. So his average was like 15.
Yeah, I would say Gesicki like $7-8 million a year, 2-3 years. I would be willing to go 3 years. He's not. How old is Mike Gesicki now?
Like 28.
I feel like he's going to be turning 29.
I think a 3 year deal would be good because that way he turns to 30, and then after that you can gauge it, And then we got him for whatever. He was great last year. He was a really good outlet for Joe. So, and I think they got chemistry. So I would.
It's also hard, but it's hard to give a guy like let's just say he's wanting 10 per year.
Yeah,
I'm just saying 10 because I said 7 or 8. So we both said 7 or 8. So he's wanting 10 mil per year, and he's wanting 3 years. So it's 3 years, 30 million. I don't think I do it just because I have seen what Joe Burrow can do with most tight ends, just not Irv Smith Jr.
Gesicki's 29. He turns 30 October 3rd.
Okay, so he's 29, turning 30. I was thinking maybe.
So he would be 32 at the end of the contract, but that's okay, man. I'm okay with it. Like the fact of the matter is, man, in like 200 years ago, people didn't even hardly live to be my age. Modern medicine is making people. I'm being serious. Like I'm not even making.
I know, but it's still funny.
Like modern medicine has people healthier longer in life. Like one of the problems, being serious on this planet, is people live too long. That's why they're stuck in nursing homes because your body's not meant to live that long. The brain literally it has a timer. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know what the fuck I was saying.
Is your timer almost down?
His timer ran out.
No, wind me up. No, but I'm holding a BLT in my hand. Wait, take a bite.
Are we treating? I know he's going to get paid as a tight end, but are we treating Gesicki more as a slot? I still think you need to go out and get a tight end.
He's not a true. Yeah, he's not a true tight end like Eric All, and I think Michael Mayer would be that. But we'll get Santori's thoughts.
I overcomplicate things with contracts. I would love to just say 2 years, 8 a year, or whatever.
I said I would love to just say $8 million a year, but
right. I always look at things as a percentage to the cap. That's how I operate. And I like the idea of 2 years, 8 a year, or 9 a year, because that comes out on an average of about 3% of the cap. If you think of it that way, where you're only charging 3% of your entire money to Mike Gesicki for what he offers, he's going to play 25% of your total team snaps. And he's going to be more than probably about 10% of your offense, if not more, for the whole year. So 3% seems appropriate for what his contribution is going to be, which is 8 to 9 a year. So let's do it.
So you're thinking 8 to 9 is fair, somewhere in that range. Would you cross the 10 threshold, knowing the cap does go up, and also the years, knowing his age? So for me, I would love to stick at 2 years. So 2 18. You would be more 2 at 18.
at the
Me,
top.
I said 2 at 16.
Well, no, Santori. Now I'm just curious. What do you think if he hits the open market? Say if he just wants the money in general, what do you think the highest he would get offered if you had to guess?
Like 10.
Okay, so not up to 12 or 13 or anything crazy like that.
I don't. I
Probably
mean, there's
not.
always a maybe.
Not at his age. Yeah, there's
There's
always
There's always
one
the
team.
Jaguars who are going to give you a Christian Kirk deal, but assuming a regular market where something isn't stupid and some GM doesn't have a wild hair up his ass, yeah, probably 10 would be a max. Got
Good
quiet.
talk. A lot of silence there.
Oh no, I'm just waiting for Santori to finish. Okay, no, I understand that. Like I say, you obviously still need to go get a tight end, but man, I just want to go back to free agency. Like I say, if they find a trade partner for Trey, I will go camping at Milton Williams' house if I have to pick him up. I will do.
What do you think Milton Williams is going to cost? Let's have that conversation.
$25 million. I think around 24 to 25 million.
Being one of the top pass rushers on the market on the D line and in general, right? That's where pass rushers come from. But it could be 20. Like I think the contract projections have been closer to 20, but I do think he might hit the 25. Somebody gives him 3 for 75 or 3 for 70, but a lot of guaranteed. Something like that is my guess.
Would you? I'm doing some math on my phone.
I still think like Khalil Mack, I mean, Josh Sweat, it's not a great defensive end market, I don't think. Like Khalil Mack's older, but he can still play. But you never know when that cliff. If you're talking about Trey being old, well, when's the cliff come for Khalil Mack? And then also, Josh Sweat is almost 28. And how much of his production and success has been because the Eagles are just loaded on.
Would you do 4 years, 90 for Milton Williams?
In a heartbeat.
Dale?
Wait, what's 4 to 90? What's not it?
It's about 22 and a half.
22. Yeah, I think you could get more than that though. That's the thing.
Okay.
What did Odigizua get from the Cowboys? Because they were very close in their projections, and I think he was 4 for 80 or something, right?
Yep, he's 4 years 80.
Yeah, 4 years 80. So he only got 20. So, but he didn't hit the open market, and that's what. God, I don't want to turn on the Bengals players. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But if you're taking under market to stay where you're at, but our players are refusing to do that, then I have a problem with that. But I don't know the numbers. This is why I'm very conflicted.
I have a splinter in my thumb. I'm trying to get out. That's why I'm looking.
No, but Santori, okay, even though he's not on the same page, same levels, Chris.
But yes, I would probably do that for Milton Williams, just because he's a great pass rusher from the interior. I would love to pair him with Trey. Oh wait, never mind.
Never mind. Or
That was me being a smartass,
but no. How much is Chris Jones getting? I know he's not on the same level as Chris Jones, but he's got to be the highest paid interior pass rusher.
Yeah, he gets a lot. I don't remember what he gets, but it's a lot.
Close to 30, isn't it $30 million a year he gets?
It's something stupid.
You were a numbers guy, Santori, and now you got a splinter in.
Well, it's those like bristles from like the grill scrapers. I got one of those fucking bristles stuck in my thumb.
And just so another thing out there, don't ever, along with math, don't ever challenge Santori and Bengals trivia. It'll just drive you nuts.
Chris Jones contract.
I thought I could get
160.
5 years, 160 is great.
Oh my
I'm looking it up.
God.
The average salary is almost 32.
Jesus.
It's a lot.
Yep.
I don't know if Milton Williams is that, but I know Milton Williams is one of the best pass rushing defensive tackles. How much of that is because of playing alongside of that defensive line? I don't know. Would I be willing to take that gamble losing Trey Hendrickson at what you said, 22.5 per year, Santori? I probably would.
Let me ask you
knowing
this.
all of that, yes. The answer is yes.
And no, if I get Mitt Williams, I know this would definitely not happen. I would go after Khalil Mack and Chase Young also, especially if I know if I'm losing Trey.
Well, Santori said Josh Sweat. Let's just try to emulate
Hilton's and Josh Sweat and get the Eagles.
Yeah.
So,
as many Eagles as we can get. You can't get Zach Bond. He signed for $51 million as a linebacker / pass rusher.
it's almost like the Saints fucked that entire situation up.
Yeah, sure did. All right, boys, we've been on for a little over an hour and a half. Think it's a good time to end it. Got over 300 live listeners, so I appreciate that. Man, Santori, thank you for coming on. You gave us more knowledge than I'll probably have to watch it back just to understand it.
Math.
Yeah, thanks, Santori.
Math's hard, bro. But you guys are awesome. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We will have a live show. Daniel Alameda from the Right Way Sports Network will be on tomorrow at 3:30. Normal time, normal schedule, normal place. I hope to see you all there. Houday, Santori, plug your stuff.
Rally around the natty.
You guys are you guys on tonight, or you're doing Thursdays now, right? Or
We're trying to do Thursdays. The barn's kind of throwing some things in a wrinkle right now. Most likely, the best case scenario. I know we're going to do Saturday this. I got it. God damn it.
there you go.
We're going to do Saturday this week.
All right, cool.
So we'll be on Saturday. It's a podcast that my dad and I do. We just basically record our phone calls, but it's live. He tends to be very, very, very pessimistic, and I have to talk him off an edge a lot.
That's me. Yeah, that sounds like me.
He's a little worse than you. I mean, he was like very, very, very depressed on the phone today, like ready to just not do anything. He was very upset. And the barn's almost done. Like we're down to like decorating, and I think they're sealing a countertop.
There you go.
That's going to look really good really soon.
Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at 3:30. Houday.